I'm Barbara. Welcome to Bee's Kitchen and Garden. Today's recipe is an applesauce spice cake. Absolutely a great addition to any celebration. So let's get started because this is a delicious dessert. And I'm going to make a 2-layer cake. Sometimes you can take applesauce spice recipe batter and you can make a coffee cake. You can make one long cake in a rectangular pan, but I'm using 2-layer pans. I have some oil, just regular cooking oil, that I spread with a paper towel because I'm going to oil and flour my pans. You'll often see this for cakes or other items that you may be baking. And what you do is you oil the pan, then I put flour in it and get it. So I'm making sure the flour rolls around in the pan and covers as much as I can of the bottom and the sides. So both of my layer pans are oiled and floured, waiting for cake batter. I also have turned on the oven, preheating to 350 degrees. Let's start with our dry ingredients. 2½ cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar, and I've put all my spices in a bowl. I'm going to stir them. One way to get them to start mixing together. And then I'm going to add them to my flour and sugar. Now, so I'm stirring the dry ingredients together. Did you know applesauce cake was used in the early colonies in the colonial period and gained great popularity during World War I, appeared in cookbooks from 1900 to the 1950s. In fact, this is a redone older recipe that I found. And in World War I, it was called patriotic cake. And that's because the expensive items of butter, eggs, and sugar weren't as prevalent in this recipe as they were in other cake recipes. The spices that I put in, I included my baking soda, salt, nutmeg, cloves, cinnamon, and baking powder. And you'll see the direct number of each of these below the video where I have the ingredients for the cake. 2 eggs go into this cake mix. A lot of cake mixes use 3 or 4, at least they did at that time. And I'm saving my shells for my garden in my composter. So get your 2 eggs, scramble them up. I've scrambled my eggs. I'm putting my vanilla in with the eggs. So 1 teaspoon of vanilla, there we go. I'm also going to add to the eggs a ½ cup of water, just to get my ingredients combined a little bit. And mix it up. Oops, trying not to spill, and pour it into the dry ingredients. Now we'll add 2 ingredients that need to be close to room temperature. The applesauce, which I set out earlier today so that it would be room temperature, 1.5 cups, goes into our batter. It gives it such great taste and body. And I like the applesauce that's cinnamon flavored because this is an applesauce spice cake. We're putting cinnamon in it anyway. And then a stick of butter that is softened to room temperature. As you can see, this one is really squishy, softened to room temperature. So we're going to dump this right into our batter and start mixing with the fork. The butter takes a while to get it mixed in. So I'm mixing everything together. The butter is a little clumpy. Just make sure all of the flour, scraping the sides, gets into the rest of the batter. And as soon as that's looking pretty good, then use your electric mixer. The one I have is a handheld mixer. And what you'll do is for about 30 seconds to a minute, mix it on a low speed. And after things are looking pretty good, bump it up and mix it on a high speed for about 2 to 3 minutes until the batter looks really well dissolved. I can bump it up now. I mix this on high speed for about 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, until it's nice and smooth. No lumps, no bumps from the butter and the other ingredients. Now I'm going to pour it into my 2-layer pans. So this guy gets some, and this guy gets some. I'm going to try to make it nice and equal. It's always a guess as to what's going to happen here. This guy gets some more. When we bake this, we're going to bake it for 40 to 45 minutes at 350 degrees. As I said, I've already turned on my oven. My oven is preheated, and these go in the oven. So my pans are filled when I'm baking a cake. I always do this a couple of times. Brings the air bubbles to the surface so you don't have as many air bubbles in your cake. Our 2 layers are out of the oven. As usual, what you try to do is get a toothpick, put it in, and if it comes out clean, the batter's all cooked. Now, not everyone has toothpicks, so an option is a shish kebab stick. You can put that in. Again, it comes out clean. A little cheese knife, why not? Try that. And it comes out clean, and we'll try the other one. We've poked that one enough. Or a thin knife, and it comes out clean, just so that you know all your batter is cooked. Now we're going to let them cool, and we'll do the icing later. And one thing I forgot to mention is that June 6th is National Applesauce Cake Day, of all things. So bake a surprise for someone for June 6th. Now we're going to start with the frosting. As you see, our cake layers have cooled and they're ready to be frosted. I'm going to start by melting a 1/2 cup of butter, which is 1 stick of butter. The frosting I'm doing today is the real easy confectioner sugar frosting. You can use it for so many different kinds of cakes, cookies, and other situations. So while the butter's melting, let's take our first layer. Take a knife and just go around the edge to loosen it. We'll see if this helps it to just fall on our plate. Let's see what happens. No? Okay, here is a really tiny spatula, which I can use to loosen up the cake. Or if you don't have one that small, here's a regular spatula. Again, what you want to do is just loosen the bottom so that it will come out of the pan. And let's see if this works now. And there we go, I feel it coming out. When you're doing a 2-layer cake, you want the flat part that was in the pan from the first layer to be on top. The second layer will then have the flat part on the bottom. So the 2 flat parts are there for the icing. The icing, it has melted, the butter is melted. I took it off the heat to cool. And in my mixing bowl, I'm going to start with 2 teaspoons of vanilla. The icing is basically butter, vanilla, and confectioner sugar. So it's a really lovely, easy, and sweet icing. Into the vanilla, I'm going to pour our melted butter. Ooh, that looks great. And into that, I'm going to add 2 cups or 1 regular box of confectioner sugar. Now I'm going to start by beating this with my fork to stir it and mix it. Key to this icing is the texture, making sure it's a consistency that you can use to spread on your cake. So you take a cup of hot water and add it a teaspoonful at a time until you get, start with 2 or 3, until you get the right consistency. And I'm also going to use my electric beater. So I've started on a low speed with my electric beater, and I added 2 more tablespoons of hot water. It needs to be hot to get this texture right. So let's beat it a bit and get our icing ready. Oh, it's looking great. Let's see if I can show you how this looks. Beautiful, delicious icing. Now what we're going to do is start spreading it onto the bottom layer. So let's move this out of the way and start spreading the icing. Perfect texture, perfect. And here is our applesauce spice cake, known as the Patriot cake during World War I, a delicious addition for any celebration.